All right, welcome back to Beyond the Line of Scrimmage, everybody. I'm Mincks here, joined by my partner, as usual, Coach Bohr. It is Thanksgiving. Man, we've got so many things that we are thankful for to present to you today. Week 14 prediction previews, maybe some other stuff. It depends on how much work we actually want to do today, because we're not getting paid. We're not getting paid holiday pay for this. We ain't getting paid shit. I just want you to know that, Coach. Go for it, man.
We got a lot of games this week, of course, with massive implications on the line. South Carolina, Clemson, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, USC. A lot of teams that could potentially shake up what we think already will be a massive weekend in college football. Let's start in Little Brothers Death Valley. Clemson favored by 2.5, which I think is kind of surprising, but surprising nonetheless. We got South Carolina coming in with a winning streak. A lot of playoff talk coming out of South Carolina. What do you think?
I see the hype. So the game that I put my key research into here, I took down some notes. Some people might call me a Clemson hater, but I'm starting to come back up on them a little bit. Pause. Just going through Clemson, 8-2 on the year, destroyed, dismantled by Georgia. Completely incompetent in the game. Other loss, Louisville, at home. Just got beat. Flat out beat by a decent Louisville team. Can you name me Clemson's 3 biggest wins on the year?
Probably would have been Virginia Tech had they been good. Probably say Pitt was definitely one of them.
I know this is just a preview video, but I do not agree with Clemson being ranked high. They have to prove it to me this weekend. Going over Clemson itself, I mean, I've yet to be convinced by this team. I need to see something. They've lost to the good teams they played. Really, the only good win they have is Pitt. And Pitt's not a great win, but it is a... Coach, where you go, man? Where'd Coach go, man? I don't want to harp on Clemson. I am a hater right now. But I'm not convinced with Clemson just yet. So far this season, their offense has struggled immensely with teams with good defensive lines. Pitt was the one that they managed to squeak out a win with. Coach said we're done. Welcome back. All right, as I was saying, Clemson, I am not convinced with you. All right? Your offense has struggled against the good teams that you played. Georgia, Louisville, what'd you do in those games? Not a lot. What'd you do against Pitt? Your offense, you got out of there. You got out of Pitt. I'm not convinced, okay? When you are playing those teams that are not Louisville, Pitt, and Georgia, you got a top 25 offense in the country. You've got a great turnover margin, one of the best in the country, ranking 4th in turnovers allowed. They do not turn the ball over. This is where Clemson has to win the game. Cade Klubnik and this offense cannot give the ball away to one of the hottest, free-flying defenses in the country. Talking about the South Carolina defense, team that ranks 2nd in PFF pass rush grade. When Clemson is playing against teams in the top 60, Coach, guess what? They do not move the ball well. When they got the competition going against them. Cade Klubnik in those losses, 18-29, 142, 1 pick. That's against Georgia. Louisville threw the ball 56 damn times. Completed 33 of them for 220 and a touchdown. Can't get the job done with that. Recently, he's played all right. Virginia, 16 of 34. Makes it up with 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Versus Pitt, played a great game. 27-41, 288, and 2 touchdowns against Pitt. He's got to be able to carry the momentum. Be consistent. Quit throwing so many incompletions, all right? Take the safe ball. Do not turn the ball over. For me, in my opinion, this game is going to be solely based on how both teams' defenses play. Because both teams have a solid defense. Great defense. South Carolina's an elite defense. Clemson, they've got a great defense. It is going to be who wins the turnover battle. One of the biggest things to note in the young career of Lenore Sellers, turnovers were an issue early on. He's starting to take that in. He's starting to grow. Starting to become a better player. Whoever wins this turnover battle. Both of these defenses are top 25 teams in forcing turnovers on the defensive end. All right? Both teams have great pass rushes. Great pass defenses. These teams are almost elite on the defensive end of the ball. And that's where we'll see the winner. Is Cade Klubnik going to prove himself? He's only thrown 4 picks on the year. 4 picks out of Cade Klubnik. Clemson started to grow on me. I'm surprised that they were favored by 2.5. I've been looking at literally just the numbers of what people are thinking. A lot of people think Clemson can get it done in this game. And I see it. I do see it. It depends on the version of South Carolina that we get. Now, the data that I use is the past 5 weeks. The recent games and what they played. And if they continue to play at that level, I think South Carolina can boat race Clemson. I think they can take it to them. For me, it is dependent on, can that South Carolina pass rush get in there, cause disruption, and force Klubnik to do something that he doesn't do often.
My only thing for this game, I have scribbled on this prediction more times than I can count. I think I finally have landed on South Carolina by 3. I don't like it. I wouldn't bet on it. It's definitely a game that could go in so many ways. Clemson is a team that is in that upper echelon, even though we don't want to put them there, because of the fact that their coach knows what it takes to win. Their coaches know what it takes to win. Their fans know what it takes to win. Not saying South Carolina doesn't have that, but they haven't proved it yet. They don't know what it's like to have to do it consistently. Even that LSU game, like they had the game in the bag. They kind of threw it away, even though the refs, took it from them. But you don't want to blame the refs for losing. This is kind of a prove-it game for South Carolina. I believe they could gain a lot of momentum from this game. However this game turns out, I wouldn't be shocked at the result. You know what I mean? And I think that's how most people feel with this game. That's kind of all I have. I'm not sold on Clemson. South Carolina is a little scary because they're riding a lot of momentum right now. And obviously, momentum's a dangerous thing. So I have South Carolina by 3.
I think both teams have a lot to win from this game. To prove it for both of them. South Carolina, I don't know if they'll get in the playoff, but I do think that this is a chance for them to ride the momentum going into the following season and keep building a program that has the ability to be one of the best in college football. Also, on top of that, they have a chance to rewrite this rivalry. Past 9 seasons, it's 8-1 Clemson. We haven't seen a whole lot of South Carolina football playing too well the past couple of years. This game right here could be a shift in the program for South Carolina. A shift in both programs. I mean, we could see a Clemson team just get flat out beat by every team that was on the same level or better than Clemson this year. And it just wasn't anything convincing by it. That's not the Clemson we've come to know. Maybe I'm too gassed up by South Carolina. I'm drinking the South Carolina sauce. Clemson's got to prove it to me, and I'm willing to be proved. All right? If I'm wrong, I will come out here and apologize. So for me, the way the South Carolina team's playing, the way I have not been convinced by Clemson at all this season, they have given me nothing to really be confident that they will play good against a team with this great of defense. I'm going South Carolina easily.
That is probably the morning game of the week. Hey, as we move on to the night game of the week, Texas at Texas A&M. Texas favored by 5.5. That line has gone down, I believe, 2 since the start of the week. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation with Quinn Ewers' injury to his ankle. I think he's good to go. But with that being said, Texas A&M's D-line can get after it. And, of course, you don't want to have an injured quarterback playing against an aggressive D-line, because then all of a sudden he's going to get nicked up again. And then, okay, now we're going to have to put Arch in. Now we're going to have to put in another backup. You don't want that to happen. You need Quinn Ewers to play good in this game. This should be the Longhorns' coming out party. They haven't proven it all year, but this has to be it. Otherwise, they might lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, and then all of a sudden you might be on the outside looking in terms of the playoff. They haven't really played anybody besides Georgia this year that they've proven it against. The program's at a point now where it's good enough to just consistently beat those smaller tier teams, but now it's like, now you got to prove it against the big boys. A&M coming off a loss against Auburn, kind of in wounded animal mode. It's another one of those scribble games. I could see it going either way, but I think I lean Texas. Probably Texas by a touchdown. It really comes down to quarterback play for me. I believe in Quinn Ewers over Marcel Reed. Quinn Ewers has the experience, has the game time, has the touchdowns, has the interceptions. You can learn from those. Marcel Reed doesn't have quite the experience that Ewers does. So I lean Texas, even though this is a home game in College Station. 12th man will be rocking. It'll be a fun game to watch. Myself and you we haven't experienced the Longhorn Aggie hate rivalry as much as we would have liked to.
Beating College Station, I think, is going to help out a lot. for A&M. A chance to really get this environment back to where it should be. Program-altering win is what this has potential to do for Texas A&M. A program-defining win, I should say.
Yep.
For Mike Elko, a statement win. Texas' offense has been shocking lately. It's just been like, why are you not doing more? Like, just do something, please. Is how I felt just looking through the Texas games over the past couple of weeks. It's just been unconvincing. Like, you got the job done, but it's just like, okay, yep, that's. I guess I expected to win, but I thought you'd do a little bit more against that team. A&M, get them in quicksand. If A&M can get Texas down into some quicksand, let them slowly sink, they can take this game. This entire year, I've been a person that hasn't been sold on A&M's offense. That's my biggest question mark is what will they do? You were right. When you say it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, I completely agree. One of those guys is going to have to take the game over. Defense on both teams will do their job. I have no doubt with that. The big question marker is for me is what will these offenses do?
Honestly, I think more than the offensive side of the ball for A&M, I think it's going to come down to the defensive side for Texas A&M. Nick Sherton, the Big Ten sack leader last year, he's been a monster this year. Going to be a high draft pick in the NFL. You need turnovers. Turnovers are going to be destroyed today. Kind of like you're going to need it to go like the Alabama-Oklahoma game did last week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get him
Somehow,
down early and then
yep,
suffocate him. That's what you got to do.
And just like the line of scrimmage has to be able to move the ball, has to be able to run the ball. That's most important. And their D-line has to be able to stop the run. Texas is down their 2 running backs, so this should be like defensive line should favor Texas A&M, you would think. But Texas does have a good O-line. It's got to come down to turnovers. I know Texas secondary is pretty damn elite. I expect them to get a couple turnovers at their side, so you're going to have to do it on the Texas A&M side of the ball too.
I definitely think that A&M can get the job done. I really do. Like the more I hear about this game, the more I hear you talk about it, the more I start to believe in A&M. The way this defense can play, I'm willing to be convinced.
But
in Aggieland, with a chance to just get to the playoff with all that on the line, we talked about last week about this A&M team being full of fighters. And they are. This team was fighting. They were pissed off about that Auburn game. They're not happy. Now you come in, you play your biggest rival at home for the first time in 13 years. Man, I'd be hard to bet against the Aggies. Marcel Reed, go and take this game for me. Give me A&M by 3.
You got A&M covering. Okay, I respect it. Next up, Notre Dame at USC. Notre Dame favored by 7.5. ND, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, fighting for a playoff spot. Actual implication on the line for this one, because if Notre Dame were to somehow lose this game, they don't play in a conference championship, and they will not be in the college football playoff. USC has been up and down this year. I don't know if you remember, but they beat LSU in week 1. We were kind of shocked by that one. That was with Miller Moss at quarterback. Now they have Nico Maiava at quarterback. He's had 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 64% completion percentage over his past few games. Like oil and water kind of fight here, because on one hand, you have USC having the good offense, has always had good schemes. On the other hand, you have Notre Dame's defense. And it's kind of like a where the rubber meets the road kind of game. One is going to be stopped. One's not going to know how to stop it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. For me, this might come as a surprise, but I have USC winning this game. Notre Dame has not faced that good of competition all year. Obviously got beat by Northern Illinois in week 2, which somehow doesn't matter in the college football playoff rankings. I have USC by 3 just because I don't believe their record is as bad as it says they are.
I disagree. USC has a bunch of just questionable losses. I don't know what to make of this team, to be completely honest. You go in, beat LSU on the road, barely lose to Penn State in overtime in a tough matchup. You lose to Maryland. You lose to Washington. You play an ugly game against UCLA. This USC team has not been good. This is a completely different team than what we saw in the first half of the season. It's starting to fall apart for USC. For so much of this week, I was like, I think USC is going to do it. USC is going to do it. I just looked at their inconsistency, and I was like, I have no faith. It's just one of those teams that has not proved anything on the year other than week 1 and week 5. We're in week 14 now. You haven't done anything since that. Notre Dame, on the other hand, yeah, weak schedule. Yeah, lost to Northern Illinois. You know what they've done since then? They played who they could play, and they went out and beat them thoroughly. Granted, it's not a strong schedule, but they went out and thrashed teams every single week. And for me, I'm a believer in consistency. Give me Notre Dame. I don't know if they cover, because I think this USC they just find themselves in scrappy games week in, week out against everybody. They have not beaten, just went out and beat anybody this year. So give me Notre Dame in a close game.
This might be the most historic, probably second most historic game in college football, the Iron Bowl. Auburn at Alabama. Alabama favored by 12.5 as of today. For me, I think the story of this game is the consistency, like you just talked about. I don't know what Alabama team is going to show up. Is it going to be Oklahoma, Alabama, or is it going to be LSU, Alabama? 42-10 versus LSU in Death Valley. That was a spine-breaking game. And then you somehow get thrashed by Oklahoma, who hasn't proven anything all year. And Milroe was awful. Like you said last week, this team goes as Milroe does. So the game kind of relies on him. As long as you have no turnovers, as long as your line actually wins your side of the ball, which you're Alabama, you should. But we said that last week and they didn't. You should win this game. The only thing not going for Alabama is the fact that Jarquez Hunter has been an absolute monster these past 4 weeks, 140 yards a game. Nobody can stop this guy.
Man, this is going to be a fun game. The way Auburn's been playing lately, very convincing. And by lately, I mean last week. Playing the game on paper, Alabama money line, Alabama money line, Alabama money line is what you're picking. But final game of the season, rivalry game, Bama is at its worst in a long time. This is a prime opportunity for Auburn to go and take something. I believe in Kalen DeBoer. Not too many people do right now, but they should, because there's the reason why that man was picked for this job. I don't think Milroe is going to let what happened last week happen again. I don't think this offense will let what happened last week happen again. I think Alabama smashes Auburn.
You and I have the same prediction. I had Bama by 17. I think they're pissed off. They have more to prove, and they have something to play for still.
And what are they ranked in the playoffs right now? 13th?
Yes.
Tell your kids about Alabama making the playoff in 2024, kids.
They still have something to play for. If they win, depending on the results ahead of them, they might be in. So I have Bama by 17. You have Bama by 14-21. Don Sot. Florida at Florida State. Florida.
We're talking about this game? Florida. I don't even need to talk about this.
Florida favored by 14.5. When you look at that, and if I would have showed you this before the beginning of the season, what this spread would be, you would have been like, okay, that's incorrect. Florida State should be favored.
Honestly, at the beginning of the year, if you showed me this, what the happened to Florida? What did Florida do? What did Florida do? Not even FSU, because I thought they would have been fine. They'd have been all right, maybe. What the hell happened to Florida? Do they have a Heisman Trophy winner on that team? Just go out and handle Texas, Georgia, Tennessee? Did they just thrash them? We don't need to talk about Florida State. You know what Florida State is. We don't need to talk about DJ Lagway, because DJ Lagway has arrived, and he is here. The thing with Florida State, though, it's not like they lose terribly. They lose badly, but it's always within like 1 or 2 scores. Consistently. It's consistency with Florida State. Terrible offense. I think Florida is going to eat today. This Florida State team, who knows? Last game of the year, senior day, at home, in front of probably 3,000 fans in Doak Campbell Stadium. Is this a potential sleeper game, though? Does Florida State come alive and absolutely take their pants down and crap on the future of Florida football? I don't think so. I don't think so. Florida State, I have no reason to even believe that is a possibility. Give me Florida. Give me Florida State covering in this. I think it's 10 to 13 point game. Ugly one, but I think Florida gets the job done.
When I think about football games, okay, I think about the biggest question in each game. What's going to make or break in each game? And like we just talked about with Bama and Auburn, I had like, what is Bama playing for? And we talked about it, the playoffs, still beating Auburn. Auburn's their biggest rival. They want to beat them. What is FSU fighting for? Is there anything that they can fight for in this final game of the season? They have nothing going for them. Bowl games, nothing.
I mean, what they had the opportunity to do is say, hey, in one of our worst seasons as a program, we still beat Florida.
You kind of hit the nail on the head. It's senior day. Parents are going to be there. Family's going to be there. Last game you ever get to play in a Seminole uniform. My heart wants to think that Florida State can stay in this game, but momentum is also going to carry the day, I believe. And I think Florida wins by 21. Florida State, just a terrible season all around. I don't know if there's much to be had for the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you need a quarterback. I don't know if Brock Glenn is going to be that guy. I don't know. It's going to need like a Dion-esque haul turn the season around or turn next season around. I have one final rivalry here, and that is the rivalry of college football.
Ohio State covers. Don't even need to talk about this one, man. Michigan, sorry, man. If Michigan wins this game and owns Ryan Day, maybe Ryan Day does have to go. If Ryan Day can't win this, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Coach, I don't even need to talk about this game because I think Ohio State murders Michigan.
Ohio State's O-line banged up, as we know, versus the great interior D-line of Michigan. That'll be the story to watch in this game. We thought it might be a problem last week against Indiana, but turns out that was not an issue whatsoever. They were able to get whatever they wanted in the second and third quarter. If you had to put a point spread on turnovers in this game, just a turnover happening, I would easily put this line at minus 300. Okay? Here's why. Ohio State has a plus half point turnover ratio. Michigan has a minus half point turnover ratio. It means a turnover is guaranteed in this game for Ohio State. And I'm not even kidding. You can mark this one down, okay? Their quarterback's going to throw a pick. They're going to fumble the ball. Doesn't matter. Ohio State's winning this game easily. I have Ohio State by 17. So Michigan does cover here just for the fight of rivalry. But Ohio State is winning this game because they are pissed off as they deserve to be. And they are going to the Big Ten Championship, which we'll talk about in a future episode. I might have Ohio State winning that game. All right, guys, that is going to be our Thanksgiving episode. A lot of rivalries tomorrow on Black Friday. And then, of course, Saturday, probably the second biggest week in college football besides last week. Last week was a big week. This week will be even bigger. We're excited. We know you guys are too. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go to our TikTok. Our TikTok's kind of booming right now. We got a lot of comments over there. We got YouTube Shorts coming out now. Make sure you go like those. Make sure you share those. Otherwise, guys, we don't have much. We just want to know what you guys think. Let us know. That's Mincks. I'm Coach Bohr. We'll see you.